Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Kishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, the government, in partnership with IBM Bahamas, is about to roll out a new system which will help execute its Swift Justice initiative. The new integrated justice system will be used by all law enforcement agencies to complement the work of police and other agencies to track offenders throughout their prosecution. Vaughn Albury tells us exactly how this new system will help clear up a clogged judicial system.
IBM's general manager Felix Stubbs says the integrated justice system introduced Wednesday has long been talked about.
We are partnering with a number of companies, one really, SunGuard, to bring an integrated justice system to the police, the courts, the prisons, and the Attorney General's office. That will allow data to flow across all the organizations freely, and creating a platform that will allow the Attorney General to promote, implement her Swift Justice program.
National Security Minister, the Honorable Bernard Nottage, reiterated the government's election pledge to mount an all-out assault on crime, and the new technology is one tool to effect it.
The system, if it works, and we are sure that it will work, will do away with a lot of the time that is wasted trying to get matters together. After the police have done their investigations, we can't get all the files together and get it in court in time with all the information. They have shown us how the use of this new system will cut away a lot of the problems that we have in that regard. And that's what's important, that if we can get murder cases to the court within 12 months, that would be a tremendous start.
SunGuard consultant David Donovan says the technology will assist law enforcement agencies move from a written file system to computerized records. The system, he says, will especially help police.
Today, when they're out with the public, they might not know who that individual is. So there's a high officer safety issue. There's a public safety issue with criminals that are on the street who we don't know who they are. This allows the officer on the street to query that person without having to be back at the station to know who they're dealing with.
Stubbs says that because of the present crime climate and the country's financial position, IBM Bahamas' $2 million bill to government will be paid out over time. And Attorney General, the Honorable Alison Maynard Gibson, says over time, residents will see the positive effects of swift justice, complemented by this new tool.
The effective use of technology is the best way and the most efficient way and the quickest way of maximizing productivity and minimizing inefficiency. And so that is what we've been doing here today, working collaboratively as the public will see us more and more working together to effect swift justice on behalf of the Bahamian people.
And I'm Vaughn Albury, ZNS News.
The issue of prison overcrowding, illegal contraband, and the emergence of gangs in prisons are common trends that are negatively impacting systems worldwide. And while overcrowding and illegal contraband have been challenging issues for Her Majesty's prisons over the years, National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage says a third element is now also affecting the Bahamian system. Dr. Nottage was speaking at the joint opening of the 1st Annual Caribbean Association of Corrections and the 6th Annual Association of Caribbean Heads of Corrections and Prison Services conferences. He said no effort should be spared to eradicate the emergence of gangs.
That organized gangs within our prison system are a relatively new phenomenon. Not only do gangs spur violence, but they are often central to hits being ordered on law-abiding witnesses and ordinary citizens.
The government is moving aggressively to address human trafficking. Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson says the Bahamas is collaborating with the U.S. and its counterparts in the region to solve the problem.
We are closely working together with the relevant authorities internationally. Naturally, we, like they, are very, very concerned about these offenses, especially given our history, most particularly our cultural history. And so I just want to say that we will be continuing to work closely, and we will see over time, and hopefully the shortest period of time, the fruit of the efforts of collaboration with the United States of America on this very, very serious matter.
Now, the Attorney General's comments come on the heels of a trafficking in persons report released by the U.S. government in which the Bahamas' ranking remained unchanged. However, the report acknowledged the significant strides made by the Bahamian government to address human trafficking. Health Minister Dr. Perry Gomez says national health insurance could soon be a reality. The Progressive Liberal Party government wants all Bahamians to receive the same access to health care, regardless of their personal wealth or circumstances. A Blue Ribbon Commission was established in August 2002 to review national health insurance. The committee's 2004 report indicated then that the Bahamas cannot afford to have a national health insurance scheme and would only work through adequate government funding. It is also anticipated that national health care coverage will cover persons with private insurance plans suffering from pre-existing illnesses, newborn babies, and those over 65. Dr. Gomez says he believes the groundwork for the program could be implemented within a year.
Of the times will dictate when it happens. In the meantime, we are going to study the old document that was done now 8 years ago, and so the costing in particular is of importance to us because the estimates of cost and so on is 8 years old, and so you have to revisit that.
Now, the government will have to employ the same expert advice from actuaries on the International Labour and World Health Organization and Health Canada. Now, whether national health insurance will become a tax or a benefit has yet to be determined.
NHI requires everybody to pay. So if the level of unemployment is too high, then that's a barrier, you see, because it requires everybody to participate. And so we must do some corrections in the economy for it, and particularly with jobs, before we jump into that.
Dr. Gomez's comments on national health insurance came during a tour of the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center today. For 56 years, the facility has been the national resource for psychiatric, geriatric, and substance abuse treatment. And as Altavis Munnings tells us, the health minister is very impressed with the level of health care delivered there.
The government recognizes that mental health is crucial to the development of the national healthcare system. And with only a month since his appointment as the Minister of Health, Dr. Perry Gomez visited the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center Wednesday morning. The tour started in the geriatrics ward, where the health minister learned about the operations there. He even spoke with a few patients, as most of them were outside enjoying the day. From there, the contingent viewed the geriatric hospital's new addition, including a new bathroom with a hydraulic bathtub. Dr. Gomez also walked through the new Robert Smith Child and Adolescent Center, where most of the furniture for a new school, daycare center, and psychiatric unit have been placed. This facility is expected to be opened by August. Now, Dr. Gomez admitted at a press conference right before Wednesday's tour that he hasn't visited the 17-ward mental health care facility for quite some time. However, he knows that medical professionals there perform at world-class standards.
The work in the drug unit, particularly for adolescents, is outstanding and compares with any center in the world. And we are grateful, and we as a country should be grateful that we have such an institution, because many countries don't.
Encouraging staff and the public not to take Sandilands services for granted, Minister Gomez believes mental health treatment should be implemented in community clinics nationwide. He also credits the decrease in stigma and discrimination of mental health to work done on the issue in the National HIV/AIDS program.
We have revisited stigma and discrimination through HIV and AIDS in a very real way. And to some extent, that might have helped the plight of people with mental illnesses.
Public Hospitals Authority Managing Director Herbert Brown is grateful the facility can now offer 21st century patient care.
Many of the wards that you would have gone on today, you would see today air conditioned. Well, several years ago, they were not air conditioned, and they are air conditioned today. That's a big thing for the patients and the staff in terms of comfort.
$27 million has been allocated this fiscal year for the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center. Minister Gomez anticipates officials will put that money to very good use. Altaviz Munnings, ZNS News.
Poaching continues to be a major issue for the Bahamas, but the government is looking to put considerable attention on addressing this concern. Agriculture and Marine Resources Minister V. Alfred Gray said there are two reasons why poaching continues to be a challenge in the Bahamas: the sheer size of the Bahamian territory and limited resources. He is, however, proposing this course of action.
If most of the poachers come to the Bahamas from the Dominican Republic and countries in that area, my own view will be that we need to police the waters between Inagua and the Dominican Republic, so that whenever there is a sighting, before they get deep into Bahamian waters, we could make the arrest or at least turn them back. I don't know why they get down into the Abacos and Grand Bahama. How they get there?
Now, Minister Gray reiterated the concentration must be on preventing passage through Inagua, the entry point into the country.
Because if we have a plane that find them by air, and you have a boat or boats ready to stop them by sea, I don't see them reaching Acklands and Crooked Island. How they can get there? So that will be, hopefully, the focus of the Defense Forces' attention once we can provide them with the crafts that we intend to buy shortly.
State Minister for Investments Kailas Roll is back from London. He was along with the Bahamar delegation there to launch the resort's offerings in the European, Asian and Middle Eastern markets. In this report from Clint Watson, hear why he's optimistic about the opportunities that may have presented themselves during those talks.
Bahamar recently launched its project in the European, Asian and the Middle East to showcase what's available in the Bahamas. To say this launch was successful, we're told, is an understatement. The government took advantage of this promotion and held a number of investment meetings. Prime Minister Perry Christie says he's quite proud of State Minister for Investments Kailas Roll, who did the country well while in London, along with the Director of Investments. Mr. Christie says despite the challenge the Eurozone is facing, he's optimistic about the interest investors have for the Bahamas.
The country will be able to share in the sense of optimism that I have as soon as I think matters have crystallized to a point where you can talk about them. And so I think, we've been in office 6 weeks maybe now, and it's only for me to say I'm encouraged, notwithstanding the formidable challenges that we face.
State Minister for Investments Kailas Roll says the meetings, launch and talks were all successful.
You had some of the most influential individuals from those areas at a reception. Lady Spencer, Sultan of Brunei, members of the Saudi royal family. And what gives me optimism is the fact that there is some turmoil in Europe, Italy, Greece, Spain, but what that results in is capital flight. It means that wealthy individuals will want to move their money to a safer jurisdiction, and the Bahamas is one of those jurisdictions.
Roll, whose responsibility is to attract new investments, says in his view the Bahamas has been closed to business over the past few years.
I spoke to people. A lady paid £11 million for a 4,000 square feet apartment in London. And she said, had she known, that money would have been in the Bahamas. She was very much interested in purchasing one of the residences. And in fact, I think she may have closed the deal on that at that reception. So it goes to show that even though there is turmoil, there is still money available. Money don't go anywhere. And we have done a lousy job of communicating what the Bahamas has to offer in investments.
Meetings were also held with the Commonwealth Secretariat and Business Council to propose a conference in the Bahamas next year.
For us, it's a major win if we're able to seal that deal, because we'll have some of the most influential individuals on our shores, and we get to showcase what is truly unique about the Bahamas. We'll be able to showcase, why the Bahamas is ripe for foreign direct investment.
The ministry hopes to take on an economist who can lay out the investment map for the government and provide an annual financial projection for the country. Clint Watson, ZNS News.
After months of legal wrangling, the Attorney General and the Judicial and Legal Services Commission withdrew their appeal today against an order by Senior Justice John Isaacs to award court costs to Cheryl Grant Bethel. The veteran prosecutor had also been ordered by the court to pay 20% of the Attorney General's costs, but the Attorney General also withdrew that appeal. Now, last year, Justice John Isaacs ordered the commission to pay 90% of Grant Bethel's costs at the close of her lawsuit against the commission over the way it handled her application for the post of Director of Public Prosecutions. Meantime, Grant Bethel's attorney, Wayne Monroe, said they will now determine what the 90% payment amounts to.
It will be a matter of ascertaining them now, because there'll be the cost orders made by Senior Justice Isaacs, which was 90% of the cost associated with the trial of the issue, and then there would be the cost associated with preparation for the appeal. Or you will go to a formal taxation process before a registrar, and if they still disagree, or if either party disagrees, the registrar can review her own taxation, and if the parties still aren't satisfied, you can appeal to Senior Justice Isaacs in the Supreme Court and to a Court of Appeal judge.
Now, noting that the post of Director of Public Prosecutions is an extremely important one, Mr. Monroe criticized the prosecutorial system, saying effective prosecution is badly needed given the crime wave in the country.
Over the time that we've had this escalation in murder, escalation of persons on bail for murder, the persons get bail for murder because they're not tried. There is no loophole in the Bail Act. The problem with bail is that the Attorney General's office is not efficiently prosecuting murders. And while this has happened, not one Attorney General has personally prosecuted any murder case. Our newly imported DPP has not prosecuted one murder case. I am not aware, and I stand to be corrected, that either of the deputy DPPs has prosecuted any murder case.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, money a hot topic in the Senate. We'll tell you why coming up.